Well, good morning, everyone. Thomas Montgomery. Today is Friday, April 18th, 2025. We get together most weekday mornings at this time, 8 o'clock Central, to talk about strategies, tips, techniques, share success stories, and support each of you. It's our pleasure to visit with you this morning. We have typically a different topic each day. If you miss any of the past trainings, you can always go back and view those on our YouTube channel, which is referenced here at the bottom of our notes. Before we get into our topic of today, though, we like to make sure that we reach out to all of you, especially those of you who are new resellers, new grant coordinators. Those mean the same things. Just want to make sure that we're doing everything that we promise to help you build financial literacy and help others access capital. In other words, are you open for business? Are you able to enroll clients in Fundable Shelf Corps? Is there anyone that's on our training this morning that is new or not so new, but doesn't feel that they're open for business, that they don't know what to do, they don't know how to make money? Is there anyone that needs that basic level of support before we get into our topic today? If so, feel free to type that into the Q&A. It's kind of like a chat box of Zoom. All right. Well, with that, let's go ahead and get into our topic today. So in the background here, you see a flyer. All of you should have this flyer. All of you should have an editable version of this flyer where you're able to put your contact information at the bottom. Does everyone have this flyer? If you could respond yes or no in the Q&A. Does everyone have this flyer? Because if you have let us know that you wanted to be a distribution partner, which is done on 509pacific.org, which is here, then we normally will send you an email, typically within 24 hours. It has this flyer on it. It has other things on it too, but has this flyer. So Christopher says he doesn't have it. So I apologize to you, Christopher. So Christopher, what I'd recommend is if you've already signed up as a reseller grant coordinator and you don't have this flyer, then go ahead and use the text line. Same for you, Mr. Certain. Same for you, Henry. Text us and let us know, because if you signed up as a grant coordinator / reseller, we normally would send you an email, and that email would be what we call the implementation packet, and it has this as one of the 3 attachments. So either we've not done what we should have done, shame on us, or you don't know what you're looking for, which you want to go back to look at the implementation email, or you're simply not set up. And if you're not set up, it's okay. It doesn't cost anything, no contracts to sign. Go to 509 Pacific, as we've talked about on prior trainings, and there's a simple form to complete. Okay? Because this flyer, I think, is a really good flyer. I think it does a great job of explaining to the prospect what we're doing, how they would benefit, what they get. And also, it's a great training tool for you, because if you're really familiar with what's on this flyer and you're able to communicate it orally, verbally, as well as it is in writing, I think you're going to make a lot of money. I think you're going to help a lot of people, because there's a lot of people that don't know what you know. Take Henry, who's on here. Henry knows how to fucking make money, right? He knows how to access capital. It's a formula for funding. You have to have a fundable business if you want business funding. Henry knows this, but a lot of these folks, they don't know this. And then they have the option. They can either buy a fundable business, which you provide with a Shelf Corp, or we can help them build one. So with that being said, this flyer I think is very helpful. If you don't have this flyer, I wanted to bring it to your attention because you should have it. Now, how to use it, and that's a point I think Gilda's bringing up. When you're putting together your client contract packet, so you have this flyer that we sent to you, or will send to you, and you also have the editable client agreement. What we recommend is when you're putting together your DocuSign or your Adobe packet, put this as the front page and then include the agreement thereafter, the agreement that you've edited. And people like to see a flyer before a contract. We see a lot a higher conversion rate if you do that. So this flyer, very helpful. Recommend that you use it. If you don't have it, contact us via the text line and we'll figure out the problem. 903-347-8042. Okay, now we're going to get into the economic benefits, which is our topic today, of a fundable shelf corporation. And there's actually three economic benefits. So my goal today in the next few minutes, we tend to have shorter trainings on Fridays. My goal over the next few minutes is to make sure that you can recite, that you understand, you can communicate to others the three economic benefits. Why would someone want to buy a fundable shelf corporation from you? Besides the fact that there's no out of pocket, beside the fact that the grant reimburses it so it's free, what are the three economic benefits? So let's go ahead and jump into those. So let's type it in here. Three economic benefits of a fundable shelf corp. Now, when we add this adjective fundable, that's important because what you and I are offering are fundable shelf corporations. There's other places that people can buy a shelf corp, but often those are not fundable, and often those don't have three economic benefits. So what you and I do, legal, ethical, no out-of-pocket cost to the client, free in the end because of the grant, Fundable Shelf Corp, three economic benefits. The first of which is, and it goes back to what I opened up, if someone's looking for business funding, they need to have a fundable business. You can't skip that step. Like if you want to be a lawyer, you need to go to law school. If you want to be a doctor, you need to first go to medical school. Can't get around it. If you want to get business funding, you need to have a fundable business. Can't get around it. So the first of which is access to business loans and financing. So money, we can call it money, right? So now if all they want is personal money, you don't need a business, right? Just go get a personal loan, a personal credit card. That's not what you and I do. But if they want business loans and financing, you need to have a fundable business, and our fundable shelf corps include what's needed. So you keep seeing the term fundable, 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 because that represents very simply in a summarization the attributes of what they receive, which is bulleted here in the flyer. So if they're wanting to get business loans, business funding, you need to have a fundable business. The Fundable Shelf Corp provides a business that's fundable. That's kind of the obvious one of the three, but let's start with it because that's usually what's drawing people in, right? They're coming to you and they're saying, I want money. I want money to start or grow a business. Well, great. You have a fundable business. Usually they don't even know what that means. So you can educate them, but the bottom line is a shelf corp is no out-of-pocket cost. It's the easiest, quickest, and with the grant, free way to help them. So number one, kind of obvious, but we don't want to skip the obvious. Number two is that we provide $100,000 of AR, which we can help them liquidate. So, but again, this is a different bucket of money. Think of it as buckets of money. This is one bucket. Some people want to combine the buckets and say, oh, well, there's this and this. No. Well, yes, they're separate. They're not one. They're not one and the same. So we want to help clients have a fundable business so they can qualify for the loans and financing they want. And so let's add that. And 100,000 of AR. So we mentioned 100,000 of collateral. You see right here, 100,000 here. So this is not talking about the loan. This is talking about what comes with it. We provide them $100,000 of collateral in the form of accounts receivables. It's real, it's ethical, it follows accounting rules and procedures called GAAP, generally agreed upon accounting principles. And so we provide that to them, and then we can liquidate that and turn that into cash. So this is 100,000 cash here. This is 100,000 or more of cash as well. So we're at 100,000 plus another 100,000. That's why the and is so important. And the third is when we provide fundable shelf corporations to clients, it takes us about 7 days to get everything packaged up and transferred to them once they've paid for it. But it's a real business. And you can see here on the flyer, it is structured under SIC code 8742. Well, we do that for a couple reasons. That industry code makes it easy to get financing, but also it is a ready to make money business. So in addition to getting loans and financing, in addition to the 100,000 of AR, which we can help them liquidate, it's also a real business ready to make money. So from the day that we transfer it to them, they should be able to start generating income, earned income through the business. And it's set up to earn 5K per day. Could be more, of course, but that's how it's set up. So 5,000 a day, 25,000 a week, 100,000 a month. I think it was Clinton and I forget who it was I talked to recently, but we use the analogy of Domino's Pizza. So let's say Clinton went and bought a Domino's Pizza franchise. So he acquired a business. Well, would he want to use that business to make money? Separate from loans and financing, separate from liquidating AR, would Clinton like to sell pizzas and make money? Well, fuck yeah. I mean, that's the point of running a business. A business shouldn't be just a shell game of how to go get loans. It also should make money. And so when we deliver these shelf corps, which takes us about 7 days from the time of payment, they have the business plan, which is referenced, the financial forecast, which are referenced here. I mean, it's ready to turnkey start making money as a management consulting business. Now, some clients will push back and they'll say, well, Ernest, I don't know that I really want to do any management consulting, right? I want to sell adult toys. Well, great. You can go sell adult toys. But the point is, in addition to that, it's ready to start making money as a management consulting firm. So ultimately, when you have a client that buys a fundable shelf corp from you, do they have to go get loans and financing? No, but pretty much everybody wants that. So that's expected. Do they have to liquidate the AR? No, but pretty much everyone does, because how could you argue that you're a responsible owner of a business, a responsible CEO of a business, if you're sitting on 100,000 of AR, but you're not working to convert that into cash, which means liquidate? We're licensed, we're bonded, we're insured, so we do that for them, and we're paid out of the liquidation, out of the results. So pretty much everyone wants this. Everyone should want this. Sometimes people are overlooking number 3, which is bizarre, because we want to make money. Why would we want to make money? Well, number 1, that's what businesses should do. Secondly, it increases our fundability, because now we can show the lender that the business can afford to pay the debt back. And third, it's 5,000 a day. And again, I know a lot of you, an extra 5,000 a day is just not a big deal. Take Mr. Certain, 5,000 a day probably won't pay his lunch bill at the country club. But for the average person running a business that brings in plus or minus 100,000 a month is a big deal. So in summary, what we're trying to accomplish today is so what's the goal today? A clear understanding that there are 3 distinct economic benefits of a client purchasing a fundable shelf corp from you. They'll have a business that's fundable, number 1. Number 2, they'll have 100,000 of AR, which we can liquidate. So that's another 100,000. And then thirdly, we should be generating 100,000 each and every month through number 3. So with that, let's open it up to questions, comments, concerns, and we try to wrap up early on Friday. So let's take the next 5 minutes, 4 or 5 minutes, and address questions. Does everyone understand the difference between these three? The reason we're having this discussion is some people, they kind of roll them all up and they think, oh, it's just 100,000 of benefit. No, no. So let's go down a bit. So let's quantify the economic benefits. So we've described them, but now let's quantify. So we promise everyone that goes through the process, we promise a minimum, not a maximum. Some people say, oh, I'll get up to 100,000. No, that's not the deal. The deal is we promise a minimum of 100,000 in funding financing, plus the 100,000 of AR to be liquidated, plus 100,000 each and every month of earned income. If you understand this, I think you're going to close just about everyone that you talk to. But if you're not clear, you're not concise in being able to help people understand the three economic benefits, you're really underselling the proposition. All right, so let's go ahead and get to questions, comments, concerns. Christopher's asking some good questions about timing, and that's good. So we'll go back, and now we'll cut this another, slice it a different way. So now we'll talk about the timing of each of the three economic benefits. Okay, so number one is the loan and financing. We should be able to jump right into this immediately after the Shelf Corp is transferred. So we need 7 days to get all the paperwork, everything transferred to them. So immediately afterwards, we can start accessing this. So we're going to say immediate. Number two is, when can we start liquidating the AR? Immediate. Same answer. Third, when can we start generating that 100,000 a month, which comes, of course, normally 5,000 per day? Immediate. So there's the answer to your question. All three of them we should be able to immediately implement, which is great. All right, so who else has questions? Stefan asked, he's from South Africa. Can he use this? Yes. Stefan says he doesn't have this information yet. So again, if you've let us know that you want to be a reseller / grant coordinator, it means the same thing, then we should have sent you the onboarding. If you don't see it, chances are it went into your spam. But regardless, you could either reset, restart, go to 509 Pacific, fill out the form, and then you'll get an onboarding packet. Or if you know you're onboarded, but for some reason you don't have it, I don't know how that will happen, then just go ahead and text us. So this is the text line. This is the line that's answered live. And I vented on this a little bit yesterday. Once in a while people say, well, you guys are hard to get a hold of. That's bullshit. We have a whole team of people, typically 4 to 5 people, sitting there waiting to answer the phones when it rings. Now, that's during office hours. I had a client call last night, 8 p.m., wanted immediate assistance, wanted us to send staff to the office at 8 p.m. local time. That's not the way businesses work, right? We need to work on it the next business day. So if you call or someone calls our number, 903-200-8781 during office hours, during weekdays, it should be answered live 99 out of 100 times. This is a text line. So if you call this text line, it'll probably never be answered, but that's why we label it a text line. So if you follow those instructions, I don't think you'll be disappointed. All right. Ben asked about the Business Accelerator program. So the Business Accelerator program is essentially the same as the Shelf Corp. It's just we're using their business instead of us providing one. So the answer is yes. It's essentially the same value proposition. It just depends upon, do they want a new entity that's ready to go, or do they want to build one? And remember, we talked about that. We could either sell them a Shelf Corp ready to go, no out-of-pocket cost, and then it's reimbursed through the grant, or we can help them build one. So the answer, Ben, is yes. It's kind of implied there even. All right. So as far as resources and contact information, I think I've kind of beaten you up over the number and the text line. If you just need to schedule a call, you can schedule a call. I'll be out Thursday and Friday. So, I run the collection agency side. So we have a nonprofit side, a 501c3. This is not the phone number for it. It has a different phone number. It's a different entity. But I run the collection agency side. I don't run the nonprofit anymore. And on the collection agency side, we collect money. In other words, we help clients liquidate the AR. My point is Thursday and Friday of next week, I'll be at a legal conference with a bunch of attorneys where we're going to be learning some additional skills on liquidating AR. So we'll have Zoom Monday through Wednesday of next week, none Thursday, Friday. If you want to go back and see prior ones, you can go to our YouTube channel. 509 Pacific is the website for the nonprofit, and that's where you'll be able to access quick cash, which is not our topic today, or to become a reseller. All right, last question, and we'll wrap it up. Jocelyn asked, is this PG? Well, PG is an acronym for personal guarantors. And so it depends on the client. If they want funding that's PG, then we can set that up. If they specifically want funding that has no PG, then that is fine as well. So when we talk about funding and financing, we're working with the client to identify the funding and financing they want, Jocelyn, that meets their underwriting, that meets their preferences. Because there's different types of funding, different types of financing, is different underwriting. All right, so if you need anything else, I would recommend text us 903-347-8042. We'll be back Monday morning. We'll have daily Zooms Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday of next week, not Thursday and Friday, because we're going to be at that collection conference, and then we'll resume the Monday thereafter. Thanks, everyone. Hope you have a great day, great weekend. Talk to you soon. Bye.